boost up or revise everything that is related to Macbeth. So the topic what we are learning is our special paper is about William Shakespeare. And in the first section we learn about Renaissance. So how is the Renaissance related to Shakespeare? The Renaissance has three parts. The first part is the preparation period which starts from 1516 to 1558. 1558, this is the preparation period and this is the period of maturity. This period is also known as Elizabethan age, and then the last period of Renaissance from 1603 to 1625. This is known as Jacobean period. According to, when we look at it through the writers, these both periods, that is the Elizabethan period and the Jacobean period, is known as the age of William Shakespeare. So this is how Renaissance is related to William Shakespeare. Now, who doesn't know Shakespeare in this class? Everyone knows. So now, I want answers. What is the birth date of William Shakespeare?
April 20.
Okay, year. Answer in one line. Full fast. Be fast. We need to complete too much. Nobody? 23rd April 1564. 1564, Stratford-upon Warwickshire. And he was married to Anne Hathaway at the age of 18. His wife was 8 years elder to him. And he had 3 children, Susan and twins named Hamlet and Judith. It is believed that Hamlet the play, is written upon the death of his own son Hamlet. And his dramatic career is roughly around 20 years, from 1591 to 1611. This is his dramatic career. That means his works are produced in between this period. And then he has written 37 plays and 2 long narratives, that is 2 long poems, that is Venus and Adonis in 1593 and The Rape of Lucrece in 1594. And he has written 154 sonnets. 154 sonnets. After seeing all this, Alexander Dumas, a French writer, quotes, "After God, Shakespeare has created the most." So you know what the quote means. So it might be a magic or don't know what, but Shakespeare died on the same day of his birth, that is 23rd April 1616. 1616. This is his period and this is his literary period. Okay? And now, what is Macbeth? Macbeth is a play. Is Macbeth a comedy or a tragedy or a satire or what? What is a Macbeth?
Tragedy.
It is a tragedy.
Major tragedy.
Yeah. Then what is a tragedy? A tragedy is an imitation of an action. It is an imitation of action and not of men. And it is very serious in action and it has some magnitude with amplish language spread throughout the play. There are 6 elements of the tragedy: plot, character, diction, thought, spectacle, that is the scene effect what the audience is getting, and the song or the melody. And then what are the characteristics of this tragedy? Noble hero. First one is noble hero. Then catharsis. Peripetia. Emertia. These are the major characteristics of a tragedy. And there is one more thing that ancient people followed, ancient tragedies followed are three unities. What are these three unities? Place and time, then action. So these are the characteristics of a tragedy. And Shakespeare, most of the times he doesn't follow this one. So let's find whether he follows all this or not in the upcoming explanations. So now, Macbeth. There is a play so powerful that an old superstition says its name should never even be uttered in a theatre. A play that begins with witchcraft and ends with a bloody severed head. A play filled with riddles, prophecies, nightmares, visions and lots of brutal murder. And this is a play by William Shakespeare, sometimes referred as the Scottish play. The Scottish play. Macbeth is also known as the Scottish play. Macbeth is one of the shortest tragedy written by Shakespeare. Among his four greatest tragedies, which are his greatest tragedies? King Lear, Macbeth, Hamlet, Othello. These four are his greatest tragedies. And then among all this one, Macbeth is the shortest one. This is so much short that it is just 1 or 2 pages more than half of Hamlet. Half of Hamlet. And then it is a psychological tragedy, also a tragedy of character. It was first performed in the Globe Theatre in London in 1606. It was first performed in 1606 in Globe Theatre, and it was first published in 1623 in the first folio. It was performed in 1603 and then it was published in the written form in 1623 in the first folio. And in 5 acts, Shakespeare recounts a story of a Scottish nobleman who steals the throne, presides over a reign of terror, and then meets a bloody end. So whatever we write, even we write or Shakespeare writes, everything has some or the other meaning or some or the other hidden agenda behind every play. There is some motive. So what is the motive behind writing this Macbeth? So this Macbeth, as I was speaking about the Jacobean age was ruled by, it was the reign of James I of England, also known as James VI of Scotland. He was a king of the Scotland and he was brought to England and he was made king and he was James I of England. Why was he brought? In 1603, Elizabeth dies without producing a heir. So what her advisors do is, they just, without informing anybody, they just go to Scotland and they bring this James VI of Scotland and make him James I of England. So now he is the ruler of entire empire. And later, after 2 years, he was subjected to an assassination attempt called as gunpowder plot. Gunpowder plot. Somebody knows what this is?
It's a plan for killing the sick.
When was it? Alice now said 1603 Elizabeth died and after 2 years this plot was, they were planned. This was planned but they couldn't execute it. Before they could execute it, however, the plan was known to the king and who was the main chief in this plan, he was murdered or he was beheaded. And then, as William Shakespeare was too close to James I, So he thought that he should write upon this. Then this is the political background of Macbeth. Then why this story was to be written. And then there comes, what are the sources? What were the sources to write this? There is one book or the annals, that is the annual writings, Holinshed's Chronicles. This is a history. This is a history book of Britain, Ireland and Scotland. And this has the stories of 11th century's murderous king Macbeth, and those are several Scottish novels such as Duncan and Macbeth. All these names are included in Holinshed's Chronicles, but the story and the plot and actions, entire thing has been changed according to Shakespeare, but only the names and the little bit source that they were from Scotland and everything, those things are just adapted to Macbeth. And then, now when we know everything about the background, the history, the origin and everything, let's move to the plot. Before knowing the plot, let's know the characters. So here characters are Macbeth and then Lady Macbeth, King Duncan, Macbeth, Malcolm, Donald Wayne, three dear sisters or witches, okay, banquet, flames. So these are the important characters. There are also other characters like Lennox and then Ross. All these are the Scottish noblemen or the generals of the Scottish army. Here Macbeth, he is the Thane of Glamis. He is the Thane of Glamis. Just to understand, he's just like Minister of Glamis. He is the Thane of Glamis. Later on, his journey proceeds to becoming many of the titles, and later on his death is there. And Lady Macbeth, is the actual villain of this entire Macbeth play, and then she is wife of Macbeth. And then King Duncan, the starting of the play, he is the King of Scotland. And then Macbeth is one more general, a Scottish general who is very honest towards King Duncan. And then Malcolm and then Donald Wayne are the two sons of King Duncan. He is the elder one and he is the youngest one. These are the two sons of King Duncan. And then three dear sisters are also known as the witches. These are the witches or the evil minds behind the entire story. And then Hecate is the queen of these witchcraft. She is the queen of witchcraft. And then Banquo is another Scottish general who is a friend to Macbeth and who is a friend to Macbeth. And then Fleance is son of Banquo. So now, till now everything is understood. So let's move on to the plot. The plot in the opening scene itself, it's literally a bang on start to the play. Then thunder cracks and three witches appear. They announce they are searching for a Scottish nobleman and war hero named Macbeth. Then they fly off while chanting a curse that predicts a world gone mad. Fair is foul and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and fill the air. This is what they are saying, this is what they are uttering, and they are flying and they flew off. And then in the next scene we see Banquo we see Banquo and Macbeth. We see both these Banquo and Macbeth returning from a war between Scotland against.
You continue, I will come.
Okay.
Otherwise, it can wait for a few minutes.
As you
ಏನು ಅರ್ಜೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ
continue or I'll continue. I'll continue. Then here these both are returning, that is Banquo and Macbeth are returning from war between Scotland and Norway and Ireland. Norway and Ireland both were combined and they were fighting with Scotland, and that war was won by one in the forefront in the leadership of Banquo and then Macbeth. Now, while they are coming back, these witches find them and they stop them in between and they say, "Hail, hail to Macbeth." That is Geo Macbeth, what we say in our own language. And then they say him, "The Thane of Glennis, please stop. We need to talk to you." And then they say, prophesize 3 prophecies. What are those? What are those 3 prophecies? Does anyone know? Don't know?
You are king of Scotland.
Okay.
Banquo's sons,
True. Okay. Now let me say. Okay. The first one will be Thane of Cawdor. The first prophecy is that Macbeth will become the Thane of Cawdor. And then the second prophecy will be King of Scotland. King of Scotland. And then the third prophecy is Banquo's descendants will become the kings. Banquo's descendants become kings. These are the 3 prophecies by the witches. So they don't believe this. That whatever you go on saying we are not going to believe or something like that. And then Banquo also says stop the foolish things whatever you are saying. And then immediately Ross, one of the another general, Scottish general, he runs towards these people and he says, "Congratulations to Macbeth, you are now the Thane of Cawdor." So now he couldn't believe that this has happened, this has come true. So now this has come true. They start to think about the future prophecies, and then he returns back to the Scotland and he writes about everything. And during this period, King Duncan announces his elder son Malcolm as the next king, as the future king of Scotland. Now this person Macbeth, he is saddened and he writes the entire things whatever has happened, and he letters it to his wife, that is Lady Macbeth. And Lady Macbeth, when she reads everything, she plots a plan, and then Macbeth arrives to castle, and then there she persuades him to kill Duncan. But he disagrees. "No, this can't be done. This is wrong. I can't do this." He disagrees with that thing. And then now she is slowly she is telling him that you are a weak. Can't you kill a king while he is sleeping? And then she also tells that I shouldn't have had a child with a person like you. You are such a coward. You are such a weak person. You don't have courage. And at the most she goes and she asks about she questions about his masculinity. That is, you can understand about how she says that if you are a male, you are gonna kill him. She questions about his masculinity. And it's very common that any male person, when it comes on his masculinity, he wants to prove that do or die, he does whatever he has been told to do. Now they plan and they call this King Duncan to their castle, and Duncan comes there, and while he is sleeping, their plan is going on. And now it's this Lady Macbeth. She intoxicates this person, all the chamberlains, all the guards of the king, and then she asks Macbeth to go and kill the king. Now Macbeth sees a floating dagger pointing him towards the chamber of King Duncan. He is going on and he is imagining, he is hallucinating that a dagger is pointing him through the chamber of King Duncan. And he goes there and he blindly kills him off. Everything is smeared there, and that dagger is there itself. And he goes back to his wife and he says, I have killed him. And then later on, she asks, where is the dagger? Where is the dagger? Then he says, it's there itself. Then she says, go and bring it. Everyone will know that you have killed him, or something like that. And he is afraid. He is not ready to go back. And he says, no, I can't go. I'll not go. He says. Then this lady, the courageous lady, the so-called courageous lady, she goes back and she takes the dagger. And she puts on the chamberlains who are sleeping outside. She smears the blood of King Duncan with her hands to the chamberlains sleeping outside, and she moves on. And now all this happened in the night. Now the morning, Macbeth with Lennox, the another Scottish general, he comes to Macbeth's castle in search of King Duncan. So nobody is opening the door, as she has intoxicated everyone with the drinks, the servants. So one of the porter opens, and he is horrified, and he says, he opens the door and he says, oh hello, come in, I am at the hell gate. This porter, while opening the gate of Macbeth's castle, he says hell gate. Do you understand why does he say hell gate? After killing of this king, the entire castle have turned into hell. Just with one word, Shakespeare notifies what has happened into that castle. The porter says, I am a guard of the hell gate, and he opens the door. They ignore him, and Macbeth goes inside with Lennox, and this message is sent that Macbeth has come to the castle, and he rushes to the chamber of the king, and he is horrified by the scene, because the chamberlains are lying in the drunken state with the blood smeared on the body, with the dagger on their bodies, and the king himself is dead. He is all dead, and all the blood is here and there. And now Macbeth, he sees, and without even giving a little time to prove their innocence to the chamberlains, he kills the chamberlains. He kills the guards. And now after killing, Macbeth is suspicious about Macbeth. Macbeth, he suspects that why could have he killed? They could have told what has happened at the night. But he kills all the chamberlains, and this Macbeth is now suspicious upon Macbeth. And after knowing this incident, both the sons of King Duncan, that is Malcolm and Donalbain, they flee from Scotland. He flees to England, and Donalbain flees to Ireland. Both these flee to some other places. Now there is no heir to the throne of Scotland. This Macbeth is the only nearest relative in Scotland, so he takes over the throne. And here he becomes the king of Scotland. The second prophecy is also fulfilled now. Now, after becoming the king, both husband and wife are worried about, they are not ready to enjoy the kingship and the queenship, but they are worried about the third prophecy, that Banquo's descendant will become the further kings. Then they are worried about this. Now again they plan and plot, And this Lady Macbeth, she is very intelligent in planning and plotting of murders. And then she tells, we'll invite both Banquo and Fleance, that is Banquo and Fleance, he is his son. Both will invite them and will murder them. So they arrange for a banquet. Banquet is a big feast. A big feast arranged just like a party, and where drinks and food is served. So they both invite these both people, and while they are coming, they hire murderers to kill both of these. While on their way to the banquet, these both Banquo and Fleance are attacked by the hired murderers, and Banquo is killed, and Fleance he flies away. He escapes from the murderers. And then now this news is given to Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Now in this feast, everywhere the king, whatever it is, the king is reserved for a special seat. So now he comes after hearing this news. The Lady Macbeth and Macbeth enters that banquet, and in that banquet, this Macbeth, he sees Banquo sitting on his chair. That the seat reserved for him, he sees Banquo is sitting there. He is not Banquo. It is the ghost of Banquo, which is only visible to Macbeth. So he is feared, and he acts like a man. He starts acting like a man. And then Lady Macbeth says, "Oh, everyone, be cool and calm. This is just a normal thing. He has some disease, so he keeps acting the same way every time. You don't worry. You please continue with the party." And then everybody is continuing the party. But now, again, he sees that on that chair he is sitting, Banquo is sitting and just going on staring very weirdly and very angrily. He is staring at Macbeth, and seeing those eyes of Banquo's ghosts, Macbeth is terrified and horrified and starts uttering anything, all the bakwas things, the bullshit things, whatever he starts uttering, and he acts like a mad person. Now this Lady Macbeth is also worried, and she dismisses the entire party arranged, and she says she requests everyone to go home or go back. And now now this Macbeth tells whatever has happened to Lady Macbeth, and he wishes that, he says that I will go to the three witches who have done these prophecies, and I will talk to them. I will talk to them what has happened, and I want the further suggestions. Now this is at the another side, and in here in the witches side, these witches, they go and meet their Hecate, and they tell whatever has happened, that we prophesied Macbeth about all these things, and this has happened. And then Hecate scolds them. She scolds them. Why did you interfere in the life of Macbeth? You shouldn't interfere. And she tells that you give the false sense of security to Macbeth when he visits you. So they agree. And then he searches for those witches. He goes, this time, these three witches search for Macbeth. Now Macbeth is searching for these three witches, or the three dear sisters. And then he goes and he asks, he gets them, he finds them, and then he tells the entire story, whatever has happened, and then he asks for some suggestions. So they remember that what Hecate had said them, that they should give him the false sense of security, that he should feel secure. Then what they do, I will read out the lines from the original play. They give them three warnings. An armed head tells Macbeth, be aware of Macbeth. First warning, be aware of Macbeth. A bloody child warns, none born of women shall harm Macbeth. None born of women shall harm Macbeth. Third warning, a crowned child holding a tree states, Macbeth shall never vanquished. He until great Brenham Wood to high Dunsane Hill shall come against him. I think you understood first two warnings. The third warning is, Here, Brenham, the Great Brenham Woods is the forest in that Scotland area. So the third warning is you are safe until the woods or the forest moves towards you. So naturally it is not possible that the woods are not going to move, that the forest is not going to move towards him. This is the third warning. The second warning is no man who is born out of a woman shall kill him. Every person is born of a woman. Everybody has a mother. So he is not worried of the second and the third one. So he is just worried about the first warning. That is, be aware of Macbeth. What he does is, he orders his soldiers to kill the entire family of Macbeth. Before this, when Macbeth was suspicious about Macbeth, he goes to England to join Malcolm and help him there. So he is not in the place. He is not in Scotland. So these murderers, they go and they kill sons and wife of Macbeth. And this news is taken to Macbeth by Ross. This is the same person who gave the message to Macbeth earlier. He gives the message that your son and your wife are killed, and now he is filled with a full rage that I should kill back. And then he says he is little his eyes are moist of he is feeling a little down that his entire family has been killed, or you can even say massacred. Then this another person, that is Malcolm, he says, act like a man. You are a man and you shouldn't be so sad. Be brave. Men shouldn't be sad upon anything. You are a soldier, he says. And then he says, here Macbeth says, yes, truly I am trying to be a true man. Which means the masculinity doesn't only mean bravery, it is also to respond to the emotions. And then now, this all happened in England. Here, Macbeth, after he orders to kill everybody, he goes and hides in the Dunsane Hills palace. He goes and hides in the Dunsane Hills. Dunsane Hills at the most top area around the Scotland. He goes and hides there. And then, when he was in that palace, he gets a news that Lady Macbeth is no more. Lady Macbeth has died. She had died of guilt, and the doctor and the nurses, they say that she would walk in sleep with a candle in her hand, and she would wash her hands to remove the imaginary blood stains of Duncan. And then she would utter, out damned spot. Spot is the stains. Out damned spot, out I say. That she was telling the spots to go away, please go away from my hands, and she was washing them randomly. And then she would say this, out damn spot, out I say. And then she cries that when she believes that these blood stains are not going to wipe out, she cries upon her whatever she has done, and she says, what's done is done, cannot be undone. These are the words of her repentance. And after hearing the death news of his wife, this Macbeth realizes that my wife is dead and I cannot produce a heir to this throne. Now it is impossible for me to produce a heir to this throne. And there, very intelligently, there is a soliloquy after Lady Macbeth's death by Macbeth. I'll read out the original lines. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that starts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So here he speaks of life. What is life? Life is just a shadow, and we all are the poor players of this one. And we come on the stage, we act whatever is given to us, and after our act is over, we are heard no more. Our voices are heard no more. And it is just a tale told by an idiot. Every man's tale is just a story told by an idiot. It is full of sound and fury. It is full of rages, full of everything. All the emotions are included in that, but signifying nothing. But every single thing signifies nothing. Here, this life may be a tale told by an idiot, but Macbeth, the play Macbeth, is not a tale told by an idiot. It is it is to the intelligent people who understand it. Here, on the other hand, this happened in Scotland, and now again coming back to England. Here in England, Macbeth and Malcolm have gathered the army of 10,000 soldiers, and they have joined the hands of King of England, that is King Siward. And here this is also there. Here one is king and one is his son, young Siward. These both join hands with Malcolm and Macbeth, and then later the war is waged upon these people, upon Scotland. And in the war, in the battlefield, young Siward is also gonna join the battlefield with Malcolm and Macbeth, and they attack. This army moves towards the Dancing Hills, and they cut the trees of the Brimnam woods, that is the forest. They cut the trees and they camouflage themselves so that nobody could know what is the strength. Strength is what is the number. Nobody could know where they are moving and everything. So now, do you remember the third warning of those witches? Until the Brimnam woods move towards Dancing Hills. So now this is becoming true. The third warning is becoming true. And then they go, and here Macbeth kills young Siward. This person is killed by Macbeth. He is killed by Macbeth. And upon being killed, his father says, yes, my son was a man. He fought like a man. He was a warrior. He has attained his manhood, he says. And then Macbeth killed this Siward, and then everyone has attacked the Dancing Hills. Now Macbeth meets Macbeth. He meets Macbeth in the battlefield, but Macbeth is still confident that nobody is gonna kill him, and he says that no man born of women can kill me. And then Macbeth says, oh really? I am untimely ripped off my mother's womb. That is, he tore his mother's womb and came out. That is what we call now a C-section or the cesarean section. So he was such a human or such a baby born out of ripping his mother's womb. So now Macbeth is terrified. He is terrified. He knows his death has come, but still he is overconfident and still he is proud of himself. He says, I'll not surrender. When he is not ready to surrender, Macbeth beheads his head. He cuts off his head and gives that head to Malcolm. And now Malcolm becomes the King of Scotland. All the three warnings, they have been come true. And now upon when this Macbeth was ready to kill him, then Macbeth remembers that he has misinterpreted the apparitions of the warnings, that they had said in the truth only, but he has misinterpreted himself, that no one could kill him. And then Malcolm becomes the King of Scotland, and he is given the crown. He is crowned in Scone. This is the place where the Scottish kings are crowned, and he is crowned in that place. And later on, here the story ends, but later on it is believed that King James I or the King James VI of Scotland was a descendant of Banquet. He was a descendant of Banquet. So now at the last here, this prophecy also comes true. This is the entire story. So is there anything you people didn't understand, or should I clarify myself wherever needed? Please ask. Story is clear, plot is clear. So now we'll move on to the themes. Here, what are the themes according to you? What could one learn after reading or after knowing about Macbeth?
Over-ambition.
Over-ambition, yes, true. Unchecked ambition, I would rather say. Unchecked because they didn't worry about what will be the effects after achieving that ambition. If they could have checked their own ambition, then all this couldn't have been happened. All this bloodshed couldn't have been happened. And then next. There are many things. You tell anything what you could tell or what you could remember now. I focused upon telling manhood, man and everything. So here, after reading this, we could understand the relationship between the cruelty and masculinity. Cruelty is different, masculinity is different. Do you agree with me? Yeah? Here, cruelty is not only shown in the men, but also in the women. Lady Macbeth is too much cruel, more cruel even than her husband. So when he disagrees, Macbeth is disagreeing to kill the king. She says, if you are a man, go and kill him. She questions about his masculinity. So one will understand the difference between the cruelty and masculinity. Here, if we see wherever the masculinity is heard, the next moment there is the naked aggregation and there is the cruelty and there is violence in the entire play. Wherever there is a question of manhood, the first she questions about his manhood, Macbeth, and he goes and murders King Duncan. Then the next Macbeth, he says, take the things as a man. Malcolm suggests him, take the things as man and go and take revenge upon Macbeth. And again there is a war, right? And then the difference between the kingship and tyranny. What is a kingship? In the entire play, whenever even I narrated, I said King Duncan. Yeah? But never did I say King Macbeth. Did I? I didn't. Because as a king also, Macbeth was never a king. He just wanted all the power and he didn't even think what would happen of his subjects. So he was a tyrant. Do you know what is a tyrant? The one who is ready to do anything just to gain the power, even at the cost of his own people's lives. That is a tyrant. And then guilt. You know guilt? Guilt and repentance. Guilt, while I was reading the lines from the original play, Lady Macbeth washes her hands and she says, what's done is done, it cannot be undone. Right? That is the guilt inside her, what she is facing after killing that King Duncan. And the supernatural elements. What are the supernatural elements? Here these three witches, this queen of witchcraft and then Banquo's ghost. All these are the supernatural elements included in this tragedy. And then abusive part. Abusive part is same as the tyrant. That he didn't mind whatever happens to whomever. He even orders to kill the entire family of Macbeth. Without even remembering those children, he even orders to kill the children. So he has become so much abusive to gain that power. And then violence. Violence is from the beginning itself there is a violence. It starts with a war, it ends with a war. In the between also there is murders and everything is filled with violence. And then betrayal. Betrayal is there. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, they betray whom? King Duncan. And then the political conflict. Political conflict is who is going to become the king. Now, even after Malcolm has become the king, do you think there will be peace in that Scotland? There will never be peace on this entire earth until and unless nobody is left alive. Even two are left, then the one person will be fighting for the leadership. Today these kings are not there, but that feeling, that grudge, that jealousy is inside everybody. Taking it from the small levels, from the school itself, everybody wants to be the leader of the class, everybody wants to take that position. From there it starts, and at every stage of the life until the death, this is there. So I think I have said all the themes whatever I could. And now still if any doubts are there, anything is there, please ask. Any doubt is there, anything clarity you want, anything. Yeah, before that, is this a tragedy upon all these characteristics? Before I conclude, are these all included in the play Macbeth? Say something, speak out something. I think you all have understood. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. How? Macbeth is a noble hero, right? Right or wrong?
Yes. Right.
He is a general, he is a Scottish general. So he is of a man of a high standard. He has his own castle. So he is a noble hero, right? And then catharsis. What is catharsis? Pity and fear. Here it's fear and pity. First, it's very fearful. But when Lady Macbeth is repenting herself, we feel pity upon her. We can't do anything to her, but there is little bit pity upon her, right? Through entire play, we feel fear. We are feared to see the blood, the shed, everything wars. See at the end that he cuts off his head and gives it to Malcolm. And then peripetia. What is peripetia? Peripetia is the reversal of fortune. Reversal of fortune is when he becomes the king. He becomes the king, but these three warnings turns his entire fortune, and he brings that degradation himself towards himself very early. Because if he could have kept quiet, not harming Macbeth's family, he could have lived for at least for 2-3 months more. That they would have planned or something, right? That is peripetia. Hamartia. Over ambition is hamartia of both Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. So now it is a tragedy, right? Everything understood? Everything? Everything? I'll ask questions then. One person can answer only 3 answers, so that everyone should answer. So that no one will be answering all the answers, and then the person who is keeping quiet will be quiet only. No, everyone should answer. Ready?
Yes.
First question, very easy question. Who kills Macbeth? Who kills Macbeth? Somebody answer. Or should I question in serial wise? Okay, who kills Macbeth? Macbeth. One chance gone. How many men ran as King of Scotland through the play? Understood the question, or shall I repeat? How many kings reigned, that is rule, over Scotland during this play? Yes, Shanna, please. 3. Whom does Lady Macbeth frame for the murder of Duncan? Macbeth.
Macbeth.
Huh? Should I give you options? Whom does, understood the question at least? Whom does the Lady Macbeth framed for the murder of Duncan? Whom does she blame or whom does she frame?
Macbeth.
ಅವ್ರ ಕೊಲೆ ಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾಳ. ಡಂಕನ್ನ ಕೊಲೆ ಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾಳ. Malcolm and Jonalvain. Option B, Duncan's drunken chamberlains. Option 3, the porter. Option 4, Macbeth. Loud, loud, loud. Second one is true. That is Duncan's drunken chamberlains. That I said you right. She makes them intoxicated and then she smears the blood upon their bodies and she keeps the dagger on their body. Who kills Banquo? Who kills Banquo? Banquo is killed, but who kills him? Everyone should answer. Not that you will keep quiet and go like that. Everyone should answer. No. Who kills Banquo?
Who appointed by Macbeth and Lady Macbeth?
Yeah. A group of murderers appointed by Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Then, which of the following describes Lady Macbeth's death? I'll give options. Which of the following best describes Lady Macbeth's death? She dies off stage. She sleepwalks off the palace wall. She declares her own guilt and stabs herself with a knife. And option D, Macbeth slays her in revenge for his own wife's murder. Option C. She declares her own guilt and stabs herself with a knife. Option D. I'll read out options once more. You tell. Option A, she dies off stage. That is backstage. Option B, she sleepwalks off the palace wall. That means she is walking and she falls off from the palace wall and she dies. Option C, she declares her own guilt and stabs herself with a knife. Option D, Macbeth slays her in revenge for his own wife's murder.
C.
Everyone's answer is C.
C or B?
C. Did I say she killed herself while explaining? Did I say?
B.
If she could have killed herself, I could have said oh, she killed herself. What did I say? That he just gave some news came that she is dead. I didn't explain how she died. So that means she just died backstage. There is no explanation about her death in the entire play. She dies off stage. There is only news about her death. Who discovers Duncan's body?
Interruption here. Here in this play, there are a lot of deaths and murders. No death is, even a single death is not taking place on the stage.
On the stage.
Almost all the deaths, all the murders are taking place off the stage. Though all those murders are reported by the
Characters. Because
nothing here, nothing is happening on the stage.
just reported on the
From the
stage.
beginning itself. That Macbeth, Banquo, they have killed the traitors. I mean, the noble men of Scotland who have joined hands with Ireland army, and they were murdered. And because of that, this Macbeth is made the Tane of coward. So in this way, all the no death, you can say, no murder is taking place on this case here. Everything is reported. Whether it is the death of the Duncan, even Duncan's death also. Whether it is the death of Banquo, whether it is the death of then Macduff's wife, then Macduff's son, everyone. And then again, what are the other the murders, the deaths here? All these are there. Even death of finally death of this Macbeth also. Even his death is also not taking place on this stage. Clear? Is it?
Who discovers Duncan's body? Be louder.
Macbeth.
Yeah. Whom does Macbeth see sitting in his chair during the banquet? Banquet is party. Whom does he see sitting in his place? I explained taking the example of this chair. Be louder.
Repeat the question.
Okay. Whom does Macbeth see sitting in his chair during the banquet? Yeah. Be louder. Banquet's ghost. It's Banquet's ghost. That's it. Be louder. Whether I was not properly telling or what? Be confident in it. What vision does Macbeth have before he kills Duncan? I said you something with actions. I said you. Remember, when he was going to kill Duncan, he visualizes something. He hallucinates. He hallucinates. What does he sees? What is a vision does he has? While he was going to kill Duncan. See, I am still giving you hints, but you are not ready to take.
Every guard's searching.
Huh?
Every guard's searching.
No.
Fear and something.
No. What is the visions? I said you right. I said you with this chalk that there was a dagger which was pointing him and taking towards the chamber of Duncan. That was his vision. It was not the truth. It was just his hallucination. With whom are the Scots at war at the beginning of the play? At the beginning of the play, with whom are they? With against whom are they fighting? At the beginning, I said you. Two names I said. Two names I said you. At least you say one name. It's okay. With two countries they were fighting. Which were those? No. These are themselves from Scotland. Against whom?
I also told that.
Huh. Whom? Only Rupa, Priya and Meenakshi and Shivananda are answering. Now these people will keep quiet and others will answer. Don't know answer? I'll tell. I'll give options. Option A, Norway. Option B, Denmark. Option C, Poland. Option D, Finland.
Denmark. Norway, Denmark.
Answers. Answers. Option A, Norway. Norway and Ireland actually. Norway. Which nation's army invades Scotland at the end of the play?
England.
Who is the goddess of witchcraft in the play?
Get.
It's directly written there. You people keep quiet. I'll let them answer. Who kills Donald Wayne? Who kills Donald Wayne? Who killed this person? Who killed him? Who killed him? Answers fast. Huh? Macbeth. Okay. Next, fast. He is not dead only. No one killed him. No one killed him. He is not dead only. What happens to Lady Macbeth before she dies? I'll give options. Option A, she is plagued by